In a poor country, if you are rich, you have to reconcile yourself to pay taxes. If your income is about 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs, I'm not even saying whether that is rich, you are in the super top minority of taxpayers, right? So, do you think the government is going to come and say, oh, we will do something great for you? No, it's not going to happen. People earning about 20, 25 lakhs, or somebody who's in the 30% slab, 30% plus surcharge, nothing great is going to change for them. For the lower end, maybe there'll be some small changes saying, look, we have already done this for you. But other than that, I don't see any. And that would also be scoring brownie points for maybe a couple of elections. But beyond that, I don't see anything great happening, any great change coming.
Buying a house is becoming increasingly difficult for the middle class.
It's not becoming difficult, it is impossible. Now, if there is a young boy or girl working in Indore or Bhopal or Chennai and you ask them to come to Mumbai, there is no way how they can buy a house in Mumbai. So it's out. I mean, people earning well, people earning 25, 30 lakhs starting salaries can't think of buying a house in.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Mint's continuing budget coverage. Now we have somebody who doesn't really need an introduction, but I will do the formality. It's Mr. V Subramanyam, author of Subramoney, of course. Thank you for taking the time, sir, and talking to us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on the show.
This budget, I mean, there are so many expectations from it. What kind of a budget do you think this is going to be, sir?
See, every year we come and speculate and saying there will be simplification. I haven't seen simplification in the last 40 years. People keep saying that the tax rates will come down, but you adjust for inflation. I don't think we've adjusted too much for tax over the years. It was Indira Gandhi was taxing us at 97%, then Chidambaram reduced it to maybe 25 to 30%. Then he said dividends are tax free. He abolished long term capital gains. We are back to 35%. If you take, because we now pay tax on everything, we pay capital gains tax, we pay tax on dividend, right? So we pay all that. So we are back to maybe 35% kind of dividend, including their surcharge and all that. So I don't see any great change happening. I don't see this government doing anything great on the tax front. Yes, maybe some tinkering here and there, but no great expectation. I hope that when I say no great expectation, they don't beat that also and do something worse.
Right, right. And why is that? Is it because the elections are far away, or is it because at this point in time there are just too many things which a finance minister needs to handle? So perhaps maintaining the status quo is what the focus is going to be on. Why is that?
In a poor country, if you are rich, you have to reconcile yourself to pay taxes. If your income is about 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs, I'm not even saying whether that is rich, you are in the super top minority of taxpayers, right? So, do you think the government is going to come and say, oh, we will do something great for you? No, it's not going to happen. So, yes, taxation or corporate taxation is not very high. GST collections are good, so it's good time now for the government to start considering reducing taxation of individuals. How can it happen? It can happen simply by increasing the limits or improving the slabs or saying maximum slab will be 25%, there'll be no surcharge, right? Some of these things could happen, should happen. But I don't see that happening. I mean, even assuming that GST grows at the same pace which it has got in the last 1 or 2 years, government's revenue should be going up. So, will government reduce taxes or will the government say, oh, my deficit is reduced? I think they'll say my deficit is reduced, right? So, and all these freebies, etc., need money. So, I don't think the government is in a relenting mood. I'm not saying anything great is going to come in the budget. If anything, if they just maintain status quo, that will be great.
Right, right. You briefly touched upon it, but let me specifically also ask you this. There are reports doing the round that the tax regime will be revised, and apparently almost as much as anywhere between 40 to 60% of the volume of the tax regime will be knocked off. What do you think this will do? What do you think this is likely to do?
If that happens is such a big question that it's difficult to speculate on that. Are you trying to tell me that the work for chartered accountants and lawyers will go down and there will be so much of simplification? I don't believe that it will happen. So it's too hypothetical question, so that is not going to happen. Are income tax limits going to change and change dramatically or drastically? Answer is no.
Okay.
we are just adjusting to inflation. So some small tinkering, that 7 lakhs limit will go to 8 lakhs, or under the old regime it will again change a little bit here and there. Maybe yes, maybe some slab change at the lower end, but I don't think for the people earning about 20-25 lakhs, or somebody who's in the 30% slab, 30% plus surcharge, nothing great is going to change for them. For the lower end, maybe there'll be some small changes, saying, look, we have already done this for you. But other than that, I don't see any, and that would also be scoring brownie points for maybe a couple of elections. But beyond that, I don't see anything great happening, any great change coming. I don't think that they're going to make dividends tax free, or they should abolish long term capital gains. I don't think any of these things are going to happen.
Right, right. And specifically, let me also ask you about slabs. Do you think there's going to be any change in the slabs? Will it be moved from 7.75 lakhs to 10 lakhs under the new regime?
I don't think so, but maybe again, like I said, some small time tinkering, some 50,000 or 1 lakh slab might change. And they will say this is only for those people who are earning less than 15 lakhs. So it may not be applicable for people earning a crore and above and all that. So yeah, some low end tinkering can happen, but I don't see anything significant happening.
Right, right. Last year, you wrote a column in which you talked about, the skyrocketing prices of, housing across the country, right? And between then and now, have you seen any changes? Because as far as, we go by the reports which are available, buying a house is becoming increasingly difficult for the middle class,
It's not becoming difficult, it is impossible. Now, if there is a young
right?
boy or girl working in Indore or Bhopal or Chennai, and you ask them to come to Mumbai, there is no way how they can buy a house in Mumbai. So it's out. I mean, people earning well, people earning 25, 30 lakhs starting salaries can't think of buying a house in any part of Mumbai, right? They'll have to really go far away. They go far beyond Thana to buy. Now, that's not Mumbai. So buying a house in Mumbai is a nightmare, and it continues to be a nightmare. Salaries are not going up fast enough to buy in those places. So I don't see any great change happening. Real estate may or may not make money for the investor, but it is way beyond reach for the small guy. I mean, imagine a guy earning 20 lakhs, right? So, and a house costing 3 crores. It is 15
Yeah,
years income, right? You put 15 years income and gross. I'm not talking of post tax, post expenses. 15 years gross income for buying house makes no sense. Work from anywhere else. Don't come to Mumbai. Don't come to Delhi. Don't come to all these places which are so expensive. More the people buy, prices will go up. If nobody buys, prices won't go up. So I don't think anything great is happening. Prices are not going down, but people are buying, and I think people are buying because the father is saying, look, I've got a flat worth 5 crores, I will sell it off, I'll give 2.5 crores to each son. Now you put another 50 lakhs or 1 crore or whatever and buy a house for your choice. So a part of the financing of the new houses is being done by sale of old houses. So that might happen, but so I don't see prices coming down. No, it is not come down.
right. All this sounds and paints a very bleak picture for the middle class because, on one hand, of course, there is not the kind of growth that India would want to see in terms of the number of jobs which are being available, and I'm talking about quality jobs. There might have been a growth in the unorganized sector, but talking about the kind of jobs which middle class usually aspires for, on one front, we're seeing that. On the other, of course, inflation and the problem of, as you were mentioning, housing. So how does the middle class reconcile with all of this?
I think the vested interest again the employee is too much greater. So will the government says, okay, we'll abolish FSI, anybody can build any size anywhere, not a problem, as long as you're willing to create some infrastructure or contribute to an infrastructure fund. Therefore, prices can change. Like you can stay in why would you have to stay in North in South Bombay? You can live anywhere in the world, and you or rather anywhere in Mumbai, and take the nice infrastructure roads and come to wherever you need to work. Is it happening? No. Could it have happened 10 years back, 20 years back, 30 years back? Answer is yes. You could have lived in the outskirts and come here, but real estate prices in South Bombay don't seem to be falling. Real estate prices in Bandra, in Malabar Hill, any of those places, prices don't seem to be falling. It is, you feel that some prices have changed, but no, compared to the purchasing power parity, which means compared to how many years salary or how many months salary, that has not changed. So I don't see that kind of a change happening. it is possible that development could happen in other places like Goa. I know companies who have shifted to Goa because people can work from home. Some of those things will happen. If you think all growth means real estate prices have to correct, maybe it will correct. Maybe Bombay prices will fall. Maybe Pune prices and Goa prices will go up till a time when you feel that it is still worth being in Mumbai. But any other place, why can't some other place do well, right? Why should everybody be in Mumbai? Why should everybody be in Noida? Why should everybody be in Powai, right? People can shift to other places and work from there. So I think some of those things will happen. So better jobs could be available across the country, not only in concentrated portions of Mumbai, Nariman Point or Connaught Place or things like that. Maybe that will happen.
But even for that to happen, let's say for a tier 2 town currently to become a city which is livable, which has the infrastructure which is required for some of the jobs that we're talking about, it would mean public and private capex both. And as far as the private capex is concerned, despite government's push, cajoling, trying to convince the private sector, that has not picked up. As far as public capex is concerned, the utilization has come down from the year before. So on that front, what do you see happening?
See, it's very important if you keep comparing capex of previous years to current years. Previous years, people
Yeah.
announced big capex, took the money, and just ran away. They had no intentions of repaying, right? Now, this it can't happen now because now capex will be funded by banks, infrastructure bonds, maybe some mutual funds taking a position in some of those bonds, right? It is funded by all that. So people will want to make sure that the money comes back. Infrastructure projects in India are notorious for their delays and lags and things like that. So I don't think too many people want to come into this business. Nitin Gadkari keeps talking about it, right? So I don't think that is happening in a hurry. So I don't know. I mean, whether infrastructure will be created, the companies will have to create their own infrastructure. So if an Infosys, if Geo or somebody wants to do something big in Bhopal, they will have to set up all those infrastructure. They will have to invest in infrastructure to go even to slightly bigger cities. May not be the top 4 or 5 cities, but even in smaller cities where there is not enough infrastructure, it is these guys, the big guys who have to create the infrastructure.
You were saying that the best thing perhaps the finance minister could do is do nothing in this budget. So if I were to give you that one wish, is that what it is going to be? One wish which you would like to whisper into the ears of the finance minister?
No, actually, I would like her to take capital gains and make it uniform
Okay,
for all assets. So let me give you an example.
sure.
If I buy a house and let's say I have a house which I sell for 5 crores and I buy another house for 6 crores, I don't pay any tax, right? So
Right.
my house is treated like that. Can you create a like a 401k plan? Can you create a plan by which I keep all my assets there? So I shift from HDFC mutual fund to ICICI mutual fund or ICICI mutual fund to Templeton mutual fund. I shift mutual fund. Don't charge me till I actually withdraw. So I entered at the age of 22. At the age of 65, I decide to withdraw money, or maybe at the age of 50, I decide to withdraw some money to pay for my children's requirement. At 65, I start withdrawing for my retirement. That time you tax. So what happens is moving from equity to debt to equity, and all those things you will allow me to do without worrying about tax, whether it is 9 months or 9 years after which I move. This will definitely reduce government's income, but it will also mean people can move to better asset allocation. Now imagine you're 80% in equity and you're 55 years of age and you want to retire. Suddenly when you have to sell and buy unnecessarily, you are incurring tax just for putting money from one pocket to another pocket. And they're doing it in the real estate. So can they do it in equity? Can they do it in mutual funds? It's something for them to ponder about. Do I think that is going to come? No, I'm fooling myself. But Abhishek, most important thing I would tell people is don't worry too much about the budget. Go sit with your spouse, sit with your family, create your own budget. That is far more important than Nirmala Sitharaman's budget. This is Nirmala Sitharaman's budget is good for the country. The budget which you sit with your family and make and adhere to is far, far more important than Nirmala's budget.
Right. Thank you for taking the time, sir, and talking to us. Thank you.
Thank- Thanks.